St. Patrick's Day week.
It's good.
Get to drink a bunch of Irish whiskey.
I don't know much about Ireland, but I know I like whiskey.
I like Ireland.
Ooh. I'll
Yeah,
save
right.
it for the video.
Yeah. Hey there, my name's Bubba.
I'm Travis.
We're
the Bottle Brothers.
Today, we're still celebrating Ireland week.
Yep.
St. Patrick's Day week. Let's try that again. St. Patrick's Day week. And today we're going to do the Know Your Region on Irish whiskey. So,
Ireland. Irish whiskey is a region. Ireland is a region.
yeah, that's the case, Travis. So we're taking a look at the region that is Ireland as far as the whiskey that they make. So here's a history lesson real quick. 'Cause everyone loves history.
Absolutely.
Back in
It's
the
my
old...
favorite subject. No, it was never my favorite. Never mind.
No, never mind. No, so if you take a look at the history of whiskey making, in Scotland and Ireland, the biggest whiskey producers of early mass production whiskey making, you see the fact they were all using malted barley as the primary grain to make their spirit. Well, once England walked in and sort of knocked down Ireland and knocked down Scotland and said, we're your big boss now.
Yep.
They wanted to tax the
They
shit
knocked them
out
down
of
and the
them.
tax went up.
Exactly. So they wanted to tax the shit out of them. So an easy way to tax areas that make a lot of whiskey is to tax what they use to make whiskey. So they taxed malted barley.
So, Ireland said, well, we're just going to make it different now.
Yep.
And that's what they did.
Exactly. So Ireland started using a portion of unmalted barley in their whiskey. They made a habit of triple distilling it because of that. And that gave birth to Irish whiskey as we know it today. And so when I think of the quintessential Irish whiskey, I think of Redbreast.
Redbreast 12, to be exact.
Exactly. So
I don't know what other expressions of this there are.
there's a couple. They're actually all really good. There's a 15-year, there's a 12-year-old cask strength. But the reason I picked this one is for a few reasons. It's pot still, which is a signature of Irish whiskey. And it's I believe this is also a single grain, single malt pot still Irish whiskey. Yep, single pot still. So that means it's barley and unmalted barley.
Okay.
Malted barley and unmalted barley. Let's try that again. So let's dig into it and see what we got going on. Oh yeah, that's
Beautiful.
That's
I
the
get
one.
so much chocolate from that.
Yeah, right. So what I'm getting on this,
I don't even want to drink it.
right?
Just wanna keep
This is
smelling
an
it.
awesome nose experience. What you're getting with this guy is a very rich bakery sweetness.
Very, very rich bakery.
Like walking into a donut shop. That sweet, thick sweetness that you only get from like baked goods.
It's reminds me of the chocolate frosting on Krispy Kreme donuts.
No, yeah, absolutely. So like a whole chocolate frosted Krispy Kreme donut, the sort of the bakery sort of
Right. That like almost too sugary frosting they put on it.
Exactly. Oh,
Are there Krispy Kreme donuts everywhere in the U.S.?
I think so. I think Krispy Kremes are pretty readily
I
available.
hope so.
I hope you can enjoy Krispy Kremes at home because we're enjoying whiskey. Oh, let's taste it.
You know, although that chocolate is right there on the front, I don't get a whole lot behind it. It's almost too much.
Yeah. Oh.
Thanks for making it seem like my opinion matters, Bubba.
Fuck off, Travis. Drink the damn whiskey. Oh, it's so nice. Oh, it's so nice.
That is really nice.
So what I'm getting on the palate with this guy is just, it's so light. It's so light.
It's very sweet still.
Mm-hmm.
It's got the fruitiness behind it too, though.
Not big fruit.
No, it's really subtle. Small berries and apricots.
Sponge
It's
cake.
different. So one thing that's always amazed me about whiskey is the difference in notes that there is. So two whiskeys might have fruit notes, but one might have zesty citrus fruit notes and one might have dark sweet fruit notes.
Exactly.
This is definitely on the darker and sweeter side.
Right. It's a dark fruit. It's not
Yes.
a bright sparkly fruit, but it's also very subdued. It's not right up front. it's melted really well in with. I can taste the cask influence. I can taste some of that sort of
Yep.
the oakiness.
Is this oak cask?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh. So the nature of Irish whiskey and the reason that it's so heavily desired is because of that light, friendly nature of it.
Yeah.
It's triple distilled. It's a really fine spirit going into the cask, and then that translates through the maturation because then the wood has a chance to sort of wake up some of the nicer, lighter notes of it, and it just comes together to be an awesome product.
And as we were saying in the previous video, that's why people really like Jameson, you know, Sexton, Tullamore Dew, is because they're so easy drinking.
Right. And so the reason I picked this one compared to those is because most of those really popular Irish whiskeys are actually blended Irish whiskeys. They'll also use grain spirit and blend it in with their malted and unmalted barley. The reason I picked this one is because this is a traditional representation of what Irish whiskey is at its core.
Okay.
What it is historically.
How does this compare to the Sexton that we had a few days ago?
Oh, this is definitely more interesting. A lot more complexity here.
Okay. I meant as far as basing it off of Irish whiskeys. As far as back to their origins.
Sexton is much more like a really, really light Japanese whiskey or a Scotch.
Okay.
It's much sweeter and much less substantial.
I'd agree with that.
Even though this is light, it's still substantial. Just because it's small does not mean it's not dense.
No, it definitely. Right? It's definitely something that's gonna, like, I don't want to say knock you off your chair, but
it's there. It lets you know it's there.
Yeah.
But it tells you in a very friendly way. Let's give this guy a rating.
All right.
Before we do that, forgive me. This comes from the Middleton Distillery, so this is actually coming from the same distillery as the Middleton like premium Irish whiskeys, as well as Jameson. It's coming from the same distillery.
Okay.
So just to give you an idea of where this is coming from.
One more thing before we touch on the rating of this. Now, if you're over in Ireland and you ask for a whiskey, what are you gonna get?
You're typically going to get either a Tullamore Dew or a Bushmills, something like that.
So,
like if you ask for a whiskey here, you're going to get a Jack Daniels.
Right. The funny thing about Ireland is that while Jameson here is probably the top-selling Irish, I would say almost certainly the top-selling Irish whiskey, they do not hardly drink it over in Ireland. It is one of their number one exports, actually.
Exactly. So for this guy, friendliness. This is not a beginner whiskey.
No.
Not something right off the bat for you.
Say 7.
7 is where I'm at.
Yeah.
It's complex. It's definitely not harsh. Just there's a lot going on in the glass.
Exactly.
And I don't want to mislead anybody by saying that, oh, this is just a super friendly whiskey just because it's light. No, it is still pretty complex.
Right. And then you touched on the complexity there. You know, the complexity even bumps up a little higher for me. I'd probably give it an 8 or 9 out of 10.
I would say 8 on complexity. There's a lot going on in the glass. It's not super changing. The finish is still not super long.
No.
But
it's weird. The finish isn't long, but it sticks with you still. You still get those little hints.
Yep.
You know, especially if you nose it again, it kind of brings out the hints in your in your tasting.
Absolutely. And then for me, as far as value goes, this guy's running anywhere from like $50 to $60 here in the state of Michigan. So what I'm getting in the glass, I think that's a really great price for a sipping Irish whiskey, not to be like mixed with Coke or treated like Jameson is often in bars. If you're actually going to sit down and drink this,
you know, it's good. I'd probably give it on the lower side of the value, just because to me it's still an Irish whiskey.
Right.
It's something that, you know, you're not getting super complex notes out of that's going to make you want to sit down and really think about it.
Right.
This is, like we were talking about last week, a good sit down by the campfire and have a whiskey with your friends.
Right, exactly.
So,
what do you think?
I'll give it a 7.
7? Yeah, 7 sounds fair. All right. Well, I think that's all there is to say about this one. So until next time,
here's to Ireland.
Here's to Ireland.
Yeah, I did the toast today, bitch.
Wow. Look at the big knockers down below the belt of this boy. Look at that I just fucking
The
said
big knockers down below the belt.
I didn't realize what I said until I said it. It was not a good thing to say.
All right.
Oh.